Hey, it's Jussi here. Welcome to the Full Stack User Interface course. We are going to build together these 6 amazing components, but before we dive into the individual components, let's take a look at the process we are going to build those things, as well as some of the tooling we are going to use in the course. Before building any of the components, we build a small design system we use. In the design system, we have things like colors, spacings, text styles, shadows, and so forth. These things are built so that we ensure that every single component looks and feels the same. After the design system, each of the individual components consists of 3 different steps. In the first step, we take regular pen and paper and draw out what we are going to build. Usually in this phase, you are encouraged to try different approaches and see what kind of things could be used to achieve whatever you're trying to achieve. In the second phase, we are taking that the thing we build or draw to the design tool of your choice. I'm using Figma myself, but feel free to use whatever tool suits your needs best. In the third phase, we are going to do the actual development. We're using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So if you're not comfortable with any of these technologies, I recommend checking out some basic tutorials on HTML, CSS. But if you know HTML and CSS, you should be good to go, because the JavaScript parts are fairly simple and you're able to follow along, I bet. Let's take a short look what tools we are using. For the design, I use Figma, so let's go there first. Here in Figma, you'll see that we have the design system we are going to build. It has some colors, some spacing, some text styles, nothing fancy there, as well as the components we are going to build. Of course, we'll start from an empty plate, so don't worry, this is just a file I've used myself to build these components before going to the actual development. I'm going to use a couple of plugins here when doing the design system, but nothing that fancy you specifically need. But I'll of course tell you whenever I use a plugin so that you can follow what we are doing in every moment. Next, let's take a look at the text editor of my choice. Here we are in the text editor. As you can see, I'm using VS Code, which is short for Visual Studio Code by Microsoft. And there's nothing fancy we are going to use. You can use whatever text editor you want. One plugin I'm using is Live Server, which is going to allow us for live edit things. But whenever we make a change to any of the files in the project, then those changes are going to be reflected straight to the browser. I could actually show that right now. So let's go also through the structure of the course. So we have the folders that are all the lessons, 6 of them, and then we have the base styles, which is our little design system here, and as well as these cover image and readme don't really concern this course, but they are part of the repository of this course. So you'll start with empty everything. So each and every lesson has a start file as well as the complete file. The complete file is there so that you can take a look what we had done, and maybe if you have some errors in your own code, or you can check the original one to see that everything's working properly. And then there's a start file, and we actually start the first lesson just by deleting everything, so we really start from 0 in the course. But I promise to show you the live preview plugin. So let's say we take the content loading placeholder. If you don't have the plugin yet installed, you can go to on Mac, hit Command-Shift-P, and have this Run Commands menu open. And then you hit Install Extension, which is Install Extensions. And there you'll find the, I probably had just typed that before out, but you can type there Live Server, and you'll find it, it's this purple little nice icon here. And then go and install it. And after you've installed the Live Server plugin, you'll see this Go Live button here in the activity menu or status bar below here. But let's see if I'll take the content loading placeholder, which is the first lesson, and then I hit Go Live. It should go to the browser, and boom, there we have it. And now if I make this a bit smaller, and this a bit smaller too, and if we change something here, say the loader width, don't concern too much with the details here, we'll tell everything, or I'll tell everything what's going on here in the first lesson. But here, let's change that to 200 and hit save, which is Command S. And you'll see that the changes are automatically reflected to the browser window. For the browser, I'm using Chrome. Feel free to use Safari, Firefox, whatever browser you're comfortable with. It doesn't really matter. The tooling is pretty similar because we are going to use the console here quite a bit whenever it comes to JavaScript stuff. And this is pretty independent from your choice of browser, so don't worry too much about that. If you want to follow one-to-one this course, then use Chrome, but of course, use whatever you want. So after setting the design tool and text editor up, you are good to go to start downloading the course content. This is just as you saw in the text, VS Code just a second ago. This is just consists of all the lessons and the starter files you need. You can go here, hit the code, and download a zip to your own computer, and then open that file or folder in your text editor tool, and you are good to go. That's it. Let's start this course by building a small design system in a design tool.